Okay, one more episode. Okay, here it is, right? Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders, the former Colorado Buffalo star quarterback and potential. He should be the number one pick, by the way, right? Okay, I'm going to tell you why he should be the number one pick, right? And everybody they're trying to devalue him because his dad, he's been having some spats with the media. So this is what you're seeing, right? So Shedeur Sanders chose not to go to the NFL Combine like everybody else does, right? He's one of the top-rated quarterbacks, him and Cam Ward. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, my opinion, he should 100% be the number one overall pick. And I'm going to tell you why, because of what he did with not going to the Combine. So his brother was not invited to the Combine. Other players in the Colorado Buffaloes team were not invited to the Combine. Now, by him being the top rated, he's putting himself in a situation where all these scouts, and they are going to show up. Scouts are going to show up. They're going to come out to see him throw, and they're going to have him questions. And so they're all going to go to Colorado, and they've already set it all up. This is already happening. So that way his brother can be out there. Other people from the Colorado Buffaloes team could be there, and you can throw balls to them, and people can get a sense of who these people are, who these players are, without them be invited officially to the NFL Combine. So it kind of helps his friends that are wanting to go to the NFL, but they're kind of not seen as so highly touted, right? So it forces the scouts to go and check it out, and it kind of eliminates this idea that these people being excluded or not invited to the Combine. I kind of like that, right? Like, you're looking out for your friends and your family, and I get it that like everybody wants to see him go to the NFL Combine, but he's already one of the top-rated persons. And the reason why I say this is because you look at the way kind of he gets treated and this stigma about being with his dad, but he always does all these selfless things. And there was an article where I saw where it talked about him not being what NFL franchises are looking for. So if you're a selfless NFL capable quarterback that understands pressure, because he's been having a high level of pressure living under the shadow of his NFL Hall of Fame extraordinary father, Deion Sanders. So like all that pressure that all these people, like all these other top level players, they experience when they get to the NFL, he's already had a front seat to see it. He's already experienced some of it. He's been given this kind of manufactured pressure. And so because of this whole thing with his pops, so like he's not like a rookie to all this stuff. And so that's what's kind of interesting about him, where he can deal with this, like he has more experience with it. And so for people to say that he's not a franchise leading quarterback, because NFL franchises are basically $10 billion companies. That's what they are. Each franchise worth, well, probably not 10 billion, but they're about 4 or 5 billion each NFL franchise. So if he's the face of it, the leader of it, look at a guy that is selfish. He does all the media obligations. He does a lot for other people beside himself. And just when you see his vlogs and you see him talk and you see how him wanting to get prepared, like it just makes a bunch of sense for him to be the number one overall pick. I mean, he's a really quality, like, you just got to like look at it for what it is. But if you look at the media trying to kind of downplay his value because he snubbed the NFL Combine because they purposely didn't invite his brother. And maybe his brother's not that good. I get that. And that's a valid claim, right? But 100%, like, and then the other side of it is he is having the Combine in Colorado because his brother wasn't invited. I think if they would have invited his brother, Shedeur Sanders, I think he would have went to the NFL Combine. But I think there was a stigma where people really don't value. See, Shedeur Sanders, the problem with him is he's kind of old. And so he probably won't even get drafted, or he won't be high in the draft just because of his age. Like, he's a quality dude and he fits all the metrics. Like, he fits within that, but his age is a factor, right? You could probably get through because a lot of these guys from, these last couple of years, they were 5th and 6th and 7th year seniors. So that's kind of that, right? But Shedeur Sanders, he's been put in a position where he can make these decisions and kind of force his way, and it's not something that, like, it's not like a big deal. Like, he's still going to get drafted really high, But to insinuate that he's going to fall in the draft to maybe 7th, 8th, or 10th pick, I think that's ridiculous. I think that's all smoke. And whoever gets him as a franchise, see, so look, so I'm going to end it with this. We're 5 minutes in, but I'm going to tell you, this is the reason why they want to devalue him. And I think this is a very valid point, is if Shedeur Sanders gets picked number 1, 2, or 3 overall, and it doesn't pan out, it's not because of him. So front office managers, like, the director of operations, like all those high level people that make those decisions, if Shedeur Sanders doesn't work out, they're all getting fired, because you can't say that he hasn't dealt with the pressure. So in other words, it's too much of a risk to draft him, because all the front office of an NFL team like the Tennessee Titans, they're going to be scared of. They're all going to get fired if it doesn't work out, if it fizzles out, because it's a higher probability that it wasn't his fault. And because he's such a public guy and he makes vlogs and they put stuff out in social media, it's going to be hard to contain that kind of disaster if it turns into a disaster. So if I'm an NFL operations guy, if I'm the general manager of a team and I just got my job, if I'm not going to go full speed into trying to make this work, I'm going to be out of a job in 1 or 2 years, because in 2 years, if it fizzled out, everybody gets fired in that organization, and or Shedeur Sanders gets let go. So that negative, so that's what's having fear, and that's why they're trying to downplay his value, because that's what you see in the media. Like when you look at some of these articles that are coming out, it's because it's a huge risk to draft him, especially if you're in that front office. You have such a huge spotlight on you that I don't know that they're going to take that risk. I don't know. He might fall to number 6 in the Raiders. He might fall there. Although I've already said that Pete Carroll is not the type of person that's going to build something from scratch. He's a guy that likes to come in where it's already kind of built. So he's not a Shedeur Sanders kind of guy, right? Unless the Raiders move up and get like the number 1 or 2 draft pick, right? Because there's Cam Ward is another quarterback that is also capable. But I think if the Raiders draft either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, they'll win with him. But the thing with the reason why I say that the Raiders might get him is because a lot of these franchises aren't willing to take that risk, and they realize that danger, because that's what you're seeing in the media, where it's kind of justifying not picking him number 1, because that's what happens, right? They start putting these negative press articles out where they're talking about that he's just not what people are looking for. But in reality, I think they want him to drop to the 6th pick to go to the Raiders, because the Raiders are kind of a dumpster fire, if we're being honest, when it comes to dealing with this kind of stuff. And so the Raiders kind of fit with Shedeur Sanders, and I think that he'll have the most success there, because the Raiders haven't been good. And so if you think about it, like the other teams haven't been good either too, but I think the Raiders are a good fit for him, because I think he can kind of turn that around. A lot of people don't like his bravado, but all the NFL quarterbacks have bravado in their own different way. From Patrick Mahomes, from Jalen Hurts, they all have their different swagger, so to say, their own different swagger kind of approach to it. So I don't know that his is better or worse, but he's a consistent dude. He's like a family, like, it's like if you watch enough of his videos, you can see his personality, and he's a real kind of go-getter. He looks like a real humble dude. But all that being said, I think that him skipping the combine is a positive move for him, because then he can control the narrative too of who he lets come see him. And also it can kind of help his other teammates, right? His other teammates. And then also Travis Hunter is going to be in the mix of that, right? And then, Shedeur Sanders' brother, like they all want to get each other drafted and help each other out. So you can't fault them for that. But anyways, what do you guys think? Like, subscribe. Let me know. If you watched this far, thank you.